Hello students, I am Jitendra Choyal and I am present in front of you with one more video from class 11th snapshot chapter 2 the address part 2nd. First part we already have discussed, now this will be the second part. You can see class 11th English chapter 2 and the chapter's title is the address. We already have completed the first part of this chapter. And in that first part we have seen that the girl was questioning her mother. So we had seen that the narrator was questioning her mother whether the mother was agreed with that lady to carry all those things with her at her home. Okay, whether the narrator's mother was agreed with that or not. Okay, so did she agree with that or not? She asked her mother, and her mother told in reply that it would be simply an insult of that lady if the narrator's mother would have asked her. So that would be an insult, that would be a kind of insult for that lady. That's why the narrator's mother didn't ask that lady about those things. Okay, now next, my mother seemed to notice that I was not entirely convinced. She looked at me reprovingly, and after that we spoke no more about it. Then, to the narrator, her mother seemed to notice that the narrator was not totally convinced with the mother's reply. Okay, so this her mother knew, and she seemed to notice this thing on the narrator's face. Okay, and after that narrator's mother looked at the narrator reprovingly, means in order to prove her point, in order to prove her argument. Okay, and after that they didn't speak to each other and they remained silent. After that they didn't speak to each other on that matter. Now meanwhile, I had arrived at the station without having paid much attention to the things on the way. I was walking in familiar places again for the first time since the war, but I did not want to go further than was necessary. Now the flashback story is over now. Now she has come on the way where she was moving towards the railway station, and meanwhile she had arrived towards the railway station thinking about those things, thinking about those old memories. Okay, and she had arrived at the railway station without paying much attention towards the thing present on the way. Okay, because if she had paid attention, she would have troubled herself. After looking at those things, after paying attention at those things, she would have troubled herself. That's why she didn't pay any attention towards those things. And she was walking in the familiar location after the war. After the war, she was walking in the familiar location for the first time after the war. Now, I didn't want to upset myself with the sight of streets, houses full of memories from a previous time. And why did she not pay any attention towards those things present on the way? Because she didn't want to upset herself. After looking at those things, she would have remembered the old and previous memories, and she would have made herself sad after looking at those things. That's why she did not want to pay much attention towards those things. Now, in the train back, I saw Mrs. Darling in front of me again as I had the first time I met her. Now again the story goes in flashback, and in the train when the narrator was sitting there, she again saw Mrs. Darling in front of her eyes. Means she is thinking about the past time when she saw Mrs. Darling first time in her house with her mother. So she is thinking about those memories now. It was the morning after the day my mother had told me about her, and it was the morning when narrator's mother told the narrator about that lady, lady Mrs. Darling. So it was the morning just after that day when they discussed about Mrs. Darling. Just after that day, I had got up late, and coming downstairs, I saw my mother about to see someone out. Okay, and now the narrator got up late that morning the narrator got up late. She is remembering now those days. So she got up late and she was coming downstairs, and she noticed her mother looking somebody outside of the house. A woman with a broad back, and the mother was looking at a woman who had a broad back. Broad back means who had this is the body structure, means she was healthy and her back was broad. So the narrator's mother was looking at that woman who had a broad back. Now, "There is my daughter," said my mother. She beckoned to me. Now, pointing towards the narrator, the narrator's mother told to Mrs. Darling that there is my daughter. Okay. Now, so she pointed towards, the mother pointed towards her daughter, towards the narrator, and she told that lady, actually she was telling the Mrs. Darling about her daughter, about the narrator. Now, the woman nodded and picked up the suitcase under the coat rack. She wore a brown coat and a shapeless hat. Okay, now the woman nodded, just she nodded. She didn't say anything. She didn't utter any single word from her mouth, and she just nodded, and she picked up the suitcase under the coat rack. Coat rack means whatever the length was there of the coat, under that coat rack, she picked up the bag full of things. Okay, and she was wearing a shapeless hat also. Okay, means shapeless hat you might have seen foreigner people in foreign countries, they wear a kind of hat which doesn't have a definite shape. So the same kind of hat she was wearing, Mrs. Darling. "Does she live far away?" I asked, seeing the difficulty she had going out the house with the heavy suitcase. When Mrs. Darling was picking up the suitcase, so it was very heavy, and she was feeling a kind of difficulty in carrying that bag out. So looking that, narrator asked, "Does she live?" If she lived very far, the narrator asked to her mother. And the mother replied, "In Marconi Street," said my mother, "number 46, remember that." Now the mother gave the address of that lady to the narrator, that she lived in, Mrs. Darling lived in Marconi Street, number 46, and narrator's mother told the narrator to remember that address, okay, because they had to get those things back. Now, I had remembered it, but I had waited a long time to go there. Initially, after the liberation, I was absolutely not interested in all that stored stuff, and naturally I was also rather afraid of it. Okay, she remembered, the narrator remembered that address. It was not so that she forgot that address. She remembered that address, but initially, just after getting the liberation, war was going on. So when they got the liberation, when they got the freedom, so initially she didn't want to, she was not much interested in those stored stuff. In those things she was not much interested. Okay, and besides this, she was afraid of those things. Now why was she afraid? Let's see. Afraid of being confronted with things that had belonged to a connection that no longer existed, which were hidden away in cupboards and boxes and waiting in vain until they were put back in their places, in their place again, which had endured all those years because they were things. Okay, and why was she afraid? Because she didn't want to see those things, because if she had seen those things, she would have made herself sad, she would have made herself upset, because those things had a connection with those persons who didn't exist after that, who didn't exist into the narrator's life. So she did not want to look at those things, she did not want to remember those troublesome days, those critical days. That's why she was afraid of those things. And that's why she kept waiting for those things so long. Okay. Now, but gradually everything became more normal again. Bread was getting to be a lighter color. There was a bed you could sleep in unthreatened, a room with a view you were more used to glancing at each day. But gradually the things became normal as they got the freedom. Now they had the freedom of everything. So as they got the freedom and the things became normal, okay, so now what happened then? And one day I noticed, I was curious about all the possessions that must still be at the address. And suddenly the narrator's mood changed, and she wanted to possess all those things, all those belongings of her mother. She wanted to have all those things back, and she was thinking now those things were still present at that address which was told by her mother, Marconi Street, number 46. I had wanted to see them, touch and remember. And now the narrator's heart was saying that she wanted to touch those things, she wanted to have those things, and she wanted to remember her old days, right? A day came when she started thinking like this, when there was a day when she felt afraid of these things. Now the time was changed. After my first visit in vain to Mrs. Dawling's house, I decided to try second time. When the narrator made first visit to Mrs. Dawling's house, so that was in vain, useless. That visit was useless. But still the narrator decided to visit Mrs. Dawling's house second time. Now a girl of about 15 opened the door to me. I asked her if her mother was at home. When she went to Mrs. Dawling's house, so a girl of 15 years, probably Mrs. Dawling's daughter would be there. So she opened the door, and the narrator asked her if her mother was at home, if her mother was present at home. Okay. So the girl replied, no. She said, that girl replied, no, my mother is doing an errand. Means her mother had gone for some household work. Her mother had gone out for some household work. So the narrator replied, no matter, I'll wait for her. Okay. Saying this, I followed the girl along the passage. An old-fashioned iron Hanukkah candle holder hung next to a mirror. Okay. Then the narrator followed that girl into the house. Okay. And they were moving through a passage, a corridor. Okay. Where the narrator saw the candle holder. Okay. Hanukkah candle stand. Hanukkah means the feast of light. Okay. So she noticed that candle stand which belonged to her mother. Means this was the belonging of the narrator and her mother. Okay. So she noticed that candle holder hung next to a mirror. We never used it because it was much more cumbersome than a single candlestick, and they never used, the narrator and her mother, they never used this candle holder because it was cumbersome. Cumbersome means heavy than a candle, than a single candle. Okay, so it was much heavy, that's why they didn't use that. Won't you sit down? Asked the girl. She held open the door of the living room, and I went inside past her. The girl of 15, Mrs. Dawling's daughter, she opened the door of living room and she offered the narrator to sit. Okay, and the narrator went inside. Okay. I stopped horrified. I was in a room I knew and did not know. When the narrator entered the living room, she was horrified and she kept standing there for some time. Why? Because just after entering the room, she came to know, or she realized that both she knew that room and she didn't know the room. Now how is this possible? Let's see. I found myself in the midst of things I did want to see again, but which oppressed me in the strange atmosphere. Now why did she say that she knew that room? Because that room was filled with, or that room was covered with the familiar things of her things. That's why she told that she knew that room. And actually that room didn't belong to the narrator. That's why she told she didn't know the room. Means she knew the room and she didn't know the room. Now that was the strange atmosphere. Those things belonged to the narrator, to her mother, but those were not in a familiar atmosphere. Those were in a strange atmosphere. Or because of the tasteless way everything was arranged, because of the ugly furniture or the muggy smell that hung there, I don't know, but I scarcely dared to look around me. Now the narrator was not getting this thing. She was not able to understand whether those things, why was she feeling bad? Just because the things were arranged in a tasteless way, those were not arranged properly, that's why, or something else. The narrator could not understand, but she didn't dare to look around her to look at those things. Now, this is surprising. The narrator was longing for those things, and now when she saw those things in front of her eyes, she was not ready to have a look of those things. Why? Because those things were not arranged properly. She was feeling bad because those things belonged to her mother, and now those things didn't have any value for this lady, Mrs. Darling. That's why she had arranged these things in this way. So her feelings were hurt. Now, the girl moved a chair. I sat down and stared at the woolen tablecloth. Okay, the girl offered the chair to the narrator, and the narrator sat down there. And that just after that, she stared at the woolen tablecloth, the cloth which was made of wool. So she looked at that woolen tablecloth which was spread there on the table. I rubbed it, my fingers grew warm from rubbing. I followed the lines of the pattern. Somewhere the edge there should be a burn mark that had never been repaired. Now she was finding on that table, on that woolen tablecloth, she was trying to find out the burn mark what she had seen on her tablecloth. Means this tablecloth, this woolen tablecloth also belonged to the narrator and her mother, and she was trying to find out that burn mark, what they had in their tablecloth. Okay. Yeah. So now next, my mother will be back soon, said the girl. I have already made tea for her. Will you have a cup? Thank you. Okay. Now the girl told that she had already prepared tea for herself and for her mother. Okay. So she offered that tea to the narrator also, and the narrator in reply said, thank you. Okay. I looked up. The girl put cups ready on the tea table. She had a broad back. Okay, and when the narrator looked up, the girl kept the cups ready on the tea table. Okay, and the girl also had the same kind of body structure just like her mother. Means she also had a broad back. Now, just like her mother, as I told you, she poured tea from a white pot. All it had was a gold border on the lid. I remembered she opened a box and took some spoons out. Okay, now the girl, the Mrs. Darling's daughter, she poured the tea from a white teapot, and that teapot had a lid on it. Okay, and on that lid, the whole pot was of white color, except one golden border on the lid of that teapot. Okay, and she remembered that teapot also belonged to her mother, and she also remembered that girl produced or brought out some teaspoons or some spoons from a box. That's a nice box. I heard my own voice. It was a strange voice, as though each sound was different in this room. Okay. Now, the narrator heard her own sound, her own voice after looking at that box which belonged to her, mother. After looking at that box, she heard her own voice, and in her own voice she told that was a nice box. Okay. Oh, you know about them? She had turned round and brought me my tea. Okay, and then the girl, when she told this thing that was a nice box, so the girl turned and she asked the narrator if she knew about those spoons, if she knew about those things and that box. Okay, so she laughed, turning towards the narrator and asking this question. The girl laughed. My mother says it is antique. And why did she laugh? Because the girl said that her mother, Mrs. Darling, she used to tell this girl, she used to tell her daughter that these things were antique things, and the girl didn't consider that those things were antique. That's why she laughed. We have got lots more. She pointed around the room. See for yourself. And then the girl told that they had got a lot of other antique things in the room which were arranged there. Okay, she pointed towards the room and she told the narrator to have a look over those things. Okay, now the narrator. I had no need to follow her hand. I knew which things she meant. I just looked at the still life over the tea table. As a child, I had always fancied the apple on the pewter plate. Okay, now the narrator already knew those things because those things belonged to her and her mother. So she was already familiar with those things. So she need not to follow the girl's hand what she was pointing towards those things. Okay, so she kept looking at the tea table, the still life at the tea table means she kept looking at the tea table. Okay, and she didn't pay any attention towards the other thing. Now she is remembering those days when she was a child. When she was a child, so at that time she always fancied about, she always thought about that pewter, you know, apple tray where the fruits are kept on the table. Okay, so that is called pewter, right? So she always thought about those about that pewter table, sorry, pewter plate kept on the table. Okay, now so in this video only this much. So very soon I will be present in front of you with a new video of the same chapter part 3. Okay, thank you very much.